Thanks for joining us on another episode of The Grind. Here's your host, JB.
Hey, thank you for joining us on another episode of The Grind. We've got our weekly update. This week we have head coach JohnMark Bentley joining us. It's been a good week so far. I know coach has been busy. I know that team has been busy seeing what they're putting out on social media. Looks like some good things going on in that wrestling room. But before we bring the coach on, go ahead and retweet us, share us, like us, go subscribe to us on Facebook. However it is that you're watching, that would be awesome and help to spread the word that we're trying to put out here on The Grind. It's always appreciated when you guys do that. It's been a good week. We've got Coach on here. Let's go check in with Coach JohnMark Bentley. Coach, how's it going in the Bentley household tonight?
Well, it's going pretty well, Jeremy. We just getting home from another soccer game. I've been doing the soccer parent thing this evening. As soon as practice was over, hustling to make it to my son's soccer game, and then my daughter had a game doubleheader right after. So,
yeah, that's we talked about it last time. Fall sports for our youth are in full swing, I guess, as much as they can be. How is that going for the for our youth, for the grade schools? Is that they back to a little bit normal, or are they doing kind of shortened seasons, or what's their approach so far on that end?
Well, I think the season was a little bit abbreviated. I'd probably have to ask my wife for sure, but it seems like it's been short and intense. I mean, I think they've played. I mean, it seems like we're involved in youth soccer with both my daughter and son playing. We're pretty much 5 days a week. We have soccer games or practice, so it's been pretty hectic. But tonight was actually the last two games of their season. So now we'll be moving on to some other things we can get involved in. So it's been good. I mean, I haven't really noticed a big difference. It seems like the season was just about the same number of games.
Yeah, that's good to see the kids back out there. I mean, I know we're eager to get our student athletes at the university levels back out there on the field of competition, but our youth, man, those guys, we've talked about this. Our daughter's the only child in our household, so that social aspect that they are missing out on with school being out is pretty tough. So it's cool to see the youth back out there and at least participating in athletics like that again.
Yeah, my kids are really enjoying it, and like you said, I agree. I think it's good for them, the socialization, and honestly, just the physical activity I think is good for them as well.
Yep, definitely. Coach, how's the week been for Appalachian State Wrestling? As things continuing to move forward, things progressing the way you like to see them progress?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the last couple of weeks, we really have just been doing a lot of technique, skill development, a lot of drilling. And actually, the last couple of days, we've gotten into some more live wrestling. So it's really the first time I've got to see a lot of our returners wrestle in a little bit. And then also, get to see first time I've really got to see our freshmen kind of scrap and, kind of see what some of those guys look like. And I will say, man, I was really impressed with a lot of our freshmen yesterday, especially, man. We had some freshmen that, knock on wood, I think I was probably, more impressed than maybe I thought I would be. And so, very, very happy with where we're at right now. It seems like our guys are just really motivated too. It's like they've been kind of locked up for so long and just want to get back into training and, chasing the dreams that they've laid out for themselves. So it's been a great week. Guys are looking great in conditioning. Coach Stork's been doing a great job in the weight room, working them out and, continuing to build that strength. And then our assistant coaches, Randall and Diabe and Ian Miller and DJ Feldman, those guys have been hustling, getting a lot of individuals in with our guys and working. And so it's been a good week. It's exciting. It's exciting to see when you put a string a full week together in these times and of good training. It's obviously something that you're thankful for that maybe you took for granted in the past.
Yeah, it's got to be exciting for you guys to see that. We've got head coach JohnMark Bentley on the weekly update this week. Join us here on Facebook, Twitter, or on our YouTube account, and we've just started with Rockfin. So wrestling fans might know a little bit about Rockfin. It's a pretty popular wrestling platform. We're on there now. You can go check us out there. Follow us on there, and we'll hit that up every once in a while as well. Coach Miller, the last time I spoke with him on an update, mentioned those lower classmen as well. He talked about how impressed he was seeing them come into that wrestling room and kind of taking off. Does that kind of speak to the caliber of the recruits that you were able to get this season or this class, or is it because we had an extended off season that they did a little bit more training on their own and grew and came in maybe a little bit stronger, or what do you kind of attribute that to?
I think this class has obviously had a lot more talent than maybe some of the classes we've had recently. I think there's definitely a lot of potential, a lot of talent there. I hesitate to be real overexcited at this point because it's doesn't mean a whole lot right now until they start competing and making weight and dealing with some adversity and the pressures of competition and all that kind of stuff. But I do think that talent wise, this class was really, really high.
Yeah, that's good. Great to hear, because I'm definitely excited to see the guys that are returning. So I'm definitely going to look forward to seeing these other underclassmen come out. We've got head coach JohnMark Bentley. You can hop over here to the Facebook page if you want. Leave a comment, ask a question, whatever it is that you may have. We won't be on here too late tonight, so if you do have something in mind, pop on over here and go ahead and put it in the chat, and we'll get right to it. It's easy to find the Facebook group. Just search The Grind or App State Grind, and we'll be one of the first pages to show up there. Coach, looking forward, obviously training going well for the underclassmen, upperclassmen, those guys, the returners coming back in. Who's coming out? Who's stepping out on the mat so far? Who's the leader? Who's the captains that you're? Who's got the captain potential going into these the fall season? Obviously, the training camps are much shorter than what you're used to having, even if we don't start wrestling until January. But what's the potential for captains? Who's that returner that's really taking charge and leading that team right now for us?
Well, I mean, fortunately, we've got a lot of returners that are have a lot of those leadership qualities. I mean, obviously, we got 3 returning national qualifiers. With Cody Russell, Thomas Flitz, and Jonathan Milner. And, obviously those guys have the potential, to fill that leadership role. But we've also got some guys that are hungry, that are, I think that are right there, that are going to really, have a breakout year this year, like Will Formato. I mean, Will Formato has just improved tremendously. And, he's put a lot of time in this offseason. And I think obviously, when you're looking at potential captains and leaders, you want guys that are doing all the things that you talk about and putting in the extra time and the extra work. And I'm not just talking about on the wrestling mat. I mean, Will's just a phenomenal student. I mean, he's pretty much straight A's in the classroom, honor student every single semester. And so it's not just like he's dedicated to only wrestling. I mean, he is a complete student athlete. You got guys like Paul Carson that has really had a good off season. I know you're familiar with him and some of his wrestling. I think he is really poised to have a breakout year. Cody Russell's been looking really, really good. I mean, he's, like I told you, I mean, obviously we mentioned that he's dropping down to 125, and he seems like it's right now he's really got an added motivation about him. And, that's really good to see. And Cody's, he's a great athlete and he's a phenomenal wrestler. But he's also just, a really likable young man to be around. I know he's a crowd favorite in Varsity Gym. I know my kids, he's obviously their, one of their favorites. And, I think it's going to be exciting to see him at that new weight class. And, he's committed himself to it and doing a good job. We've got some other kids, Caleb Smith. I think Caleb Smith, who redshirted last year, that most of our fans may not even know a whole lot about, but he has the potential to grow into that leadership role, man. I mean, he's a phenomenal worker. He had some really great performances last year as a redshirt. He placed 4th at the Southern Scuffle last year as a redshirt freshman. And so I think, it's pretty exciting about him. And I think he has that leadership quality as well. And so, it's really a good problem to have. But we have a lot of guys that could potentially rise and be the captains of this team. I don't think I'm going to make the decision yet who will officially be our captains. I'm going to kind of go through a little bit more of this preseason and kind of see how things play out. And, because it's important too. I mean, obviously, you need leaders, but you have to have leaders that the guys are going to follow. Yeah. So you got to make sure that they're the leaders that the team's going to follow and the other guys are going to follow.
Yeah, for sure. And we've got a familiar name and face popping up there in the chat. Coach Rosa says, does John have any skills yet?
Well, ask him to define skills.
yeah. If you're having to ask if he has any skills, you're definitely going to have to define that, because that guy's shown it a few times out there on the mat. That's got to be exciting, Coach. And you mentioned a couple of names that we've got to watch compete, right? Last Saturday at the Senior Nationals, Cody, Russell, and Will traveled out there and competed for us, well, as individuals, but definitely went out there and competed. We were able to watch some of the streaming events. I don't know how they felt they did, but it was good to see them back out on the mat and competing at that level.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought they did a really good job. I mean, I'll be honest with you. The senior nationals, I mean, you've got guys that are postgraduates that are only focusing on freestyle full time, that are being paid to just train the sport of freestyle. And to have 2 of our wrestlers that go out and compete and, are competitive, win a couple matches apiece at that level of tournament is in the international style. I thought that was pretty impressive. And, more than anything else, I think for both those guys, it was good just to obviously identify some more things they need to work on, see how much growth they've made in the off season, and, knock some rust off. And so I thought it was great for them. And, we're hopeful, in about a month, we've got the U23 nationals and the UWW juniors in Omaha, Nebraska, that we're hoping to send quite a few guys to those as well. So giving those guys an opportunity to compete.
Yeah, it'll be great to see some more competition, see those guys get out on the mat and roll around a little bit more. That'll be something to watch. It was good as a fan. I'll be honest with you. It was good as a fan. We had to head to Hickory later Saturday afternoon, but every chance I got, I had it on my phone trying to see where they were at and when it was coming up next. So it was great to see some wrestling competition. That was just for sure. I'm sure they were super excited to get back out on that mat and compete at that level again. But yeah, some of those guys, the talent, like you said, speaking of the talent, I mean, there was guys there that the commentators were talking about. I didn't know much about the freestyle, and I didn't know a lot of the names, but they definitely spoke highly of some of those guys. And like you said, a lot of those guys training postgraduate at that level was great to see them out there competing.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'll be honest with you, something else that impressed me was how many of our team members were glued to the tournament, watching their teammates. I think that speaks volumes to the type of culture we have, is that, Cody and Will were out there, but they were representing App State Wrestling, and a lot of our guys were following them. I mean, they wanted to see them do well and performing, and I don't know. I think that's pretty special when you've got that kind of support from within a team, and that all the guys are so close that they're invested in each other's career.
Yeah, you and I have talked about it a little bit. We do hope to bring our coverage up another notch and try to bring a little bit more coverage about what those guys are doing, and maybe we can do that on this next opportunity maybe get in some Skypes with those guys out there, or somebody that's out there with them, just to chat with them real quick about their performances and about what they're doing. I think it would be good to, you and I have talked about that before, talking to those guys and really bringing that to light, because the fact of the matter is most of our fans don't know when they're competing as individuals in competition like that. So I think being able to get that word out there for them and get those followers and the App State fanatics knowing what's going on, when they're not just in the varsity gym. Obviously, varsity gym and the duels and tournaments that we go to as a team are pretty well covered, but these individual events, I think we could do them justice by giving them a little bit more coverage with that. And the competition was phenomenal. I mean, like you said, watching wrestling on that level is always fun anyways. So I think it'll be good. Coach, do we have any, going forward, do we have any insight into what this season looks like yet?
Yeah, so we had a conference coaches call today and got a little bit more insight. We're definitely going to start competing in January. It looks like we're going to have a 5-week dual season that will be SoCons, and 3 of those weekends will be tri-meets, and 2 of them will be dual meets. And it looks like each team in the conference will host 1 tri-meet and 1 dual meet. And so, that's what it's going to look like. I think the specifics of that should be forthcoming maybe here in the next couple of weeks. And then now I'm going to be working diligently to try to schedule a couple of non-conference matches with some of the P5s or just, other conferences to fill our schedule. And so, you're probably looking at a smaller number of matches this year, but I do think that, our schedule probably should start coming together here in the next couple of weeks.
So are they anticipating it getting in before the national start? Do they have a date for the national in St. Louis yet?
So nothing's going to change. The NCAA championship date will not change. What is being talked about, and this has not been finalized or anything like that, but we are talking about moving the conference championships up to possibly the end of February to give a couple-week period in between in case we have an athlete that qualifies for the national tournament that gets test positive for COVID, to give them time to clear quarantine before the national tournament.
Yeah, that's going to be a crunch down season, pretty tight for you guys. That'll be a lot of action packed into a couple of weeks of competition before we start getting into championship mode, conference championship mode. So that's going to be that'll be pretty interesting. It should be good. That'll be a great spectator event. I mean, as you said, tri-meets. A person could hopefully go to varsity gym or wherever you guys might hold them, and see a pretty good field of competition there in a short period of time. So. For spectators, obviously, it's going to be great. For teams, that's going to be a challenge, but at least you're competing and getting back on those mats.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Coach, anything else going on in the program that we should know about? Don't want to keep you running too long tonight. Obviously, try to keep our updates as tight as we can keep them and get you back to the family. But anything else we should know about, looking forward to?
Yeah, we got a updated graphic on the wrestling room or the locker room door today. I'll send you a picture of it. I'll post it out there so you can see what it looks like. It looks sweet. You'll be excited. It's a good looking graphic on the front of that locker room door.
Hey, and we do kind of have an update. I mean, we announced him as an assistant coach, but it was kind of made official. Coach Randall Diabe this past week was made official and actually hired. So that's got to be cool. I can tell you from a guy that, started watching the program and seeing Randall compete as a student athlete, to see him being, a paid position on the staff, man, that is, and especially for me being involved in the Yosef Club, it's something special, man. It doesn't happen to every student athlete, but to see it happen to Randall is definitely a treat for me.
He's very deserving. I mean, he's done such a phenomenal job here through his wrestling career, and he loves App State wrestling, and he really loves this program, and he's really doing a phenomenal job. Like, I am, so excited about his growth and potential, as an assistant coach, and hopefully making that a career for him. But yeah, it's kind of a special experience for me having student athletes that I've coached on our staff. I know with Coach Parisi, Dom, was on our staff as a volunteer for 3 years, and then, added Randall last year's volunteer, and then moved him now into a staff position. It's a special thing when student athletes that you've coached, recruited, coached, went through the program, and graduate, and then you have the pleasure of adding them to help make the experience of these student athletes, these guys, even better. And so it's really nice, I think, having one of our own on my staff.
Yeah, that's got to be a special moment as well. Coach, any last words tonight? What's the kind of the next step? I guess the next competition, the individual competition's coming up in a few weeks if we get to send them out there. Anything else after that coming up on the schedule? Probably not.
It'll probably be that freestyle tournament, in mid-November, and then it'll probably be, right around the first weekend of January is when we're looking to, hopefully get some matches going.
All right, Coach. Well, we definitely appreciate your time tonight, and look forward to catching up with you. Maybe we can do it in a wrestling room next weekend or next Friday afternoon. That'd be great to see the kids rolling around, the guys rolling around on the mats, chatting with you. Coach, definitely appreciate your time, and have a great weekend.
You too. Thanks a lot, Jeremy.
All right, appreciate you tuning in, checking us out here on The Grind. Another great update from Coach JohnMark Bentley. We are always grateful for his time and his staff's time here on The Grind. Again, just a reminder, we've got a Patreon group set up. We've got about 5 members in that Patreon group, and we definitely appreciate their support. And let me pull up their names here real quick, just so we can give them a shout out, because they are definitely due that appreciation. Our Patreons are, we've got John, Sharon, Billy, Dominic, and Jesse. We appreciate the 5 of you for joining that group and being a part of that. As I said, the things that we're doing with The Grind is definitely not free, and it's not cheap. And where we hope to head, heard a little bit of news today. Wasn't everything, and don't have anything in writing yet that I can share with you guys, but I will tell you the opportunity that we have in front of us and what we can do with the team this coming season is pretty exciting. I think for everybody, and I think I can even speak for JohnMark for that as well. A lot of good things in the works. Maybe next week we can make something official. I'm hoping so, but it'll be good. And I think that I think the people in the Patreon group will be proud to be a part of that, and they will definitely help us get there. That's for sure. But definitely appreciate you tuning in, checking us out. Subscribe to us however you are. Patreon group is there live. I'll post the link there in the chat on Facebook. And leave us a review or something on whatever platform that you're listening, Apple, Google, whatever the podcast platform that is that you're listening on. We definitely appreciate that. Thank you for your time. Appreciate you tuning in, and have a great weekend. This episode of The Grind is proudly sponsored by Mountaineer Works. Mountaineer Works, owned and operated by Appalachian State alum and athletics photographer Chad W. Mitchell. Chad designs and builds officially licensed, unique cornhole board sets, and today I give my all plaques that will surely rock your tailgate, party, backyard barbecue, office, or creative space. They're sculptured smooth in the wood lab, fire coated at over 3,000 degrees, and paint dyed in the Cornhole Conservatory to complement their one-of-a-kind grain, then App State branded. The best part is you choose from a set of pre-approved color layouts and App State logos to personally design your cornhole boards, and today I give my all plaque. Mix it up or match it up, you can't go wrong. Show your Mountaineer pride as these make solid gifts for deserving folks. Find Mountaineer Works on Facebook and Instagram to place your order or ask a question.
This has been a production by Yosef Media.